Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry. Max is here as per usual, and the Dave. Dave is here. We're hanging out, and we're going to be talking about the Premier League 2 champion, Everton squad, the U23s. They just beat Brighton 1-0, but this isn't about the Brighton match per se, and it's more just about their season and the players that may have some potential moving forward. Dave, you've seen them a good deal this season, yes?
Yes. Well, yes. About 50%, maybe a little bit less.
That's. I think I caught one.
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting to be put on the spot there, so yeah. But I've seen them enough.
You don't have to show me your punch card. I guess the obvious thing for folks that maybe haven't seen them enough, or maybe people who haven't, players with potential, that I think that's a big thing, is players with first team potential that are maybe with the squad right now. This season, I think Bas Sambo led the squad with 9 goals. Fraser Hornby had 4, Broadhead had 4, and Josh Bowler had 3. And then you look at the appearances. I mean, the players that played the most this season: Broadhead, Sambo, is it Adeniran?
Dennis
Adeniran?
I say Adrian, but I could be well off myself. It's a name I've only ever seen wrote, not spoke, so apologies if I have it wrong.
I've never actually heard someone say it, except for when we were purchasing him, and I read that.
What is it, Max? Do you know?
I don't know. It's ADE, isn't it? It starts with ADE.
Yeah, it's spelled ADENIRON. So it's like Adniran.
You know what, right?
Like that.
I was on a pod a few weeks ago with All Together Now pod. It's another good show. People should check out. But anyway, and this same subject come up, and his name again, and I got it completely wrong. I apologised, and I was like, I come away, I said to the lads, next time I'm going to get his name, and here we are a few weeks later, and I've still completely messed it up.
I mean, he's a good young player. He made 21 appearances this season. I mean, he was joint in appearances in terms of most appearances this season with Broadhead and Sambo. He's a good player. I've just never heard people say his name out loud. That's just all it is. Markelo's a player who's also started to come on. He had 18 appearances this season. Feeney, Charlesley, Bowler, Hornby. These are the players that played the most. However, that doesn't necessarily give, because our third string keeper made some good appearances this season as well. João Virginia. So, Dave, give us a lead off a little bit on, when you've actually watched them, who do you think has impressed, and who do you think's got some? And I didn't mention Lewis Gibson, who's been back in the squad recently too, who is a good young player. Who stuck out for you as having maybe some first team potential, and then we'll head it over to Max.
Yeah, I think Virginia's looks like a really good goalkeeper. I think I might have covered his first game for Everton, and he really stood out. Commanding, good shot stopper, but just very, very vocal. I think that's such an underrated quality within a goalkeeper, because it gives the defence so much confidence. Ironically, I saw the Toffee Blues tweet out that he may be the reserve goalkeeper next season. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but if it is, that's really good news, I think. Talking of Dennis, played safe. I think he's a really good player, actually. I know we kind of having a joke about him, but in that centre midfield, he's really, really good at kind of exploding into a press. The way Unsworth seems to play, certainly out of possession, is almost like a 5-4-1. And they almost have a low block, and that they'll sit and relinquish possession for the opposition to bring it forward. But while they're passing it across their back line, trying to carve open spaces to play through, Everton have got this pounce in them that he often leads, where they'll just charge the central defender really quickly, and it's resulted in a few errors leading to goals. So I think he's really good. I like Hornby. I think he leads the line well, but similar to Calvert-Lewin, he's not really scoring a lot of goals. But He's really good in the air, good at pressing the ball. Josh Bowler's seems to be kind of coming into his own a little bit. I feel like, did we buy him from Fulham or somewhere like that? Can anyone remember? QPR. Yeah, he seems to be doing quite well. Broadhead as well. So there is good talent in there. I've got a few reservations I'll come on to a little bit later after Max has had a little chat about it. But I think there's some good players in there. I'm not really sure who was ready to make the step up, except for the goalkeeper though.
Gotcha. Max, what are your thoughts on U23 squad whenever you've seen them? Anybody who you've thought, wow, they stick out?
Yeah, I kind of echo what Dave said in that, other than the goalkeeper, I'm not 100% sure on who's, ready to make that leap into first team. I think regardless, I think you've got to give a huge shout out to Morgan Feeney this season, because if I'm not wrong, didn't he have a pretty bad knee injury not too long ago that he bounced back from, and he was part of the team that won it 2 years ago. And obviously, for this season round, be wearing the armband and to be lifting the trophy, that's a huge compliment to him. He's obviously got that confidence from being in a league-winning team, and he's carrying that forward. And obviously the ones who stick out is the handful that you see in playing the Europa League against Limassol. I've seen a bit of Anthony Gordon, and I think Anthony Gordon looks a real good player. Sambu looks decent. And then you see the lads who get the big goals throughout this league campaign. I think it was Broadhead who scored at Anfield.
I think he did get a goal, Broadhead.
And Bowler obviously got the one against Brighton. So those players scored the decisive goals, and I'd be interested to keep my eye on Lewis Gibson in the next coming years, because he seems in terms of his career trajectory, he looks on set to be, an elite level player at the top level, from going from Newcastle to Everton for it's up, what was it, 1 million, 2 million, which is big money for a player around that age. So it looks like he's got the skills and the mindset that looks to carry him into senior football. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes carrying forward. I
just read that story in the Echo interview with him, with Gibson. And not just because he has the same last name as me, just because I'm trying to find a lot of player stories about how they got to where they are, and I'm sending them to my wife, because we just kind of find this stuff fascinating, because we've got two kids that love the sport, and we want to kind of know how it works and what other people's experiences are like, and that kind of stuff, becoming their journey, learning their journey. So I totally sent that to my wife to check out, because he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Seems like he's a pretty sharp kid. It wouldn't surprise me, I don't know if you guys would agree, to see Feeney go on loan next season, maybe get some more consistent games at a higher level in order to kind of let people like Gibson and maybe, is it Azundis? Con Azundis, is that his name?
Yeah, that's
or Azunidis or something, to see them get more minutes. And see some of these older guys maybe go out and maybe get a little bit more hardened, consistent. But there's some of these players are going to be out of contract soon, though, by the way. And I'm curious, a player like Bas Sambu, who I think is out of contract soon, does Everton re-sign him, or is it a situation where they just sort of let him go because they're worried he's not ready to make a step up?
Yeah. Well, that's it. I think you've just really kind of hit the nail on the head at where some of these players are. They need to now go out and play competitive football. And, all right, the PL2 is competitive football, but it's between your own peer group, often playing in front of mums and dads. You want to start going and playing football again for people who are paying the hard-earned money for teams that they love. And then you'll kind of find out exactly where you are. And that's my biggest reservation about this current Everton side, under 23 side, is a lot of them, I know there's a few that have been out, but a lot of them who won that haven't got a lot of Football League experience. So there's a few of them I'd like to see go out there and kind of prove the worth, and then come back and we can kind of gauge where they're at.
It'd be nice to see, in the coming years, to see maybe some of the youth players coming through establish themselves as valuable squad player, because, you know, if you look back on the years, you've got the likes of James Vaughan, Victor Anichebe, and then, you know, even Leon Osman, Tony Abbott, real kind of squad players that have been of use.
Yeah.
And
Can I
go on?
Go on, sorry, mate. No, I was changing direction, so I want to wait.
No, I was just gonna say, because at a point I said last time as well, like, other than Wayne Rooney, Ross Barkley, Tom Davies, none of them have really been able to cut it for the first team. So
yeah,
we've
had a few close calls, but none of them have really kind of come through. Yeah, the only thing I was about to say, and I suppose it's to an extent devil's advocate, putting a negative spin on it. It's not really meant to be like that, but it'd be nice to get other people's opinion on it. Obviously, you two included. But my only reservation is, right, so Everton's under Unsworth, they play like I've touched on it already, like a out of possession. It's like a 5-4-1 formation, relying on the wing backs, but they do sit quite deep, and they seem happy to, from what I've seen anyway. Now, I must put the caveat in, I haven't seen every single game, but from what I've seen, they play completely different to how the first team play.
We had this same conversation at the beginning of the last pod, Dave. No, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's I think everybody touching on this is important, is the idea of having a style kind of implemented at many ages that feeds into the senior team. I mean, that's where you're going, right?
Well, yeah, because with at the end of the day, we want competitive underage divisions, of course, because you want that competitive edge to grow within. But these divisions are there to ultimately progress players. And if you've got a player who's fitted really well to David Unsworth's system, he's doing really well, and we go, right, okay, let's bump him up and give him a go. He's coming into a completely different squad, completely different playing style. And how is he going to make an impact in a 20-minute cameo appearance when it's a completely different kind of environment and playing style for him to come in? And I think it can hinder them. And I just wonder whether sometimes are we too results driven at that level rather than progressing players. You know, we won the league 2-3 seasons ago, can't remember which one, and I think Max has basically just said it. How many of them have really come through? And I think Davis and Calvert-Lewin were half in, half out.
I should have said,
yeah, they were half in, half out, but they weren't playing every single week in there, were they? So yeah, that's my only reservation. I'd perhaps rather see us playing. Well, I said it's really difficult. You don't want to slant Unsworth to winning the league and doing a really good job, but I said there's just maybe that playing that devil's advocate role.
Yeah,
there's a few reservations.
Like you said, it aids with that transition, doesn't it? And I just to ask you as well, because obviously when you look at this squad that have won the league, it seemed like which juxtaposes the first league winning team, that they've been brought in, say within the last year or so, from different, like, for example, Virginia coming in from Arsenal, Gibson coming in from Newcastle, Dennis came in from Fulham.
Yeah.
Like, they've been brought in to do...
My man, Dennis.
Yeah, they've been brought in to do, specific jobs, possibly for the Unsworth system. So, I agree that it's 100% a hindrance on the transition into the first team. And then you look at the classic examples where youth production and that transition to football in the first team almost seems seamless. Right now it's the trendy thing to be on the Ajax bandwagon in it, and Barcelona have had that for many years, which kind of aids them with the transition. So, and I remember, I think Denise Barrett-Baxendale saying about Marcel Brands that he wants the kids to all play the same way. So that might be, I think this is something that we'll see emerge over the next couple of years.
Do you think that this is going to see Unsworth move on? Do you know what I mean? Because I think that's something he's going to need to do to take the step up anyway,
Yeah, possibly, and obviously he turned down the Oxford United job, but I'll say what I always say when it comes to Unsworth. He's so talented when it comes to youth football, like in terms of working with young players for the development, for the mental aspect, the psychological aspects. I think he does them the world of good. I remember seeing an article the other day criticising him for using too many F-bombs and what have you, but sometimes tough love is what you need at that level. I don't know. Obviously, if you're speaking more objectively, yeah, he does need to make that jump to managing a first team himself. But who knows? I know that's something that's contested between Evertonians, that we just seem to employ former players for the sake of giving them a job. But you get examples such as David Unsworth where, they prove to be successful.
Sorry, Max. I was smiling because you were talking about him dropping F-bombs, and immediately I thought of Big Lebowski when this stranger, Sam Elliott, says, "Do you have to use so many curse words?" The fuck you talking about, man? Immediately I thought of, like, the dude says F-bombs, so Unsworth should be able to. It should be fine. Dave, what do you think? Do you think it's a possibility that Bronze and Silva would talk to Unsworth about altering style, or it's a thing where they're just going to bring someone else in who may be a little bit more... Because, Unsworth, I'm sure, is a guy who can probably adapt, but I think he has certain styles that he prefers to run.
Yeah, I think hopefully that awkward conversation won't be necessary because, as we've just said, where does he want to take his progression now? He's won the title twice at this level. He needs to go and bite the bullet and do it at a football league club now and start earning, working his way up the divisions if he's good enough. This really shouldn't be a job for life for him. So yeah, I think when he does go, then we try and bring someone in who's going to be replicating something similar to what the first team are doing. I'd like to think Brands. If we're switched on enough to be talking about it, then they're probably 5 steps ahead of us. So hopefully that's going to be on the cards in the summer.
Awesome. All right. Anything else on the U23s, guys? Anybody? Any names you want to throw out there?
Congratulations to them all.
Yeah,
it's great achievement.
I want to mention one other player, that Markelo kid. I do think he's pretty solid. He was brought in to be like a right back, but he started playing a little bit more center, like kind of center defensive mid, kind of that player, and he's looked good every time I've watched them. So that is another player. I don't think he's ready, but he still has looked solid when I've watched them. So, again, there's good talent. I'm really curious to see how they're going to move forward, though. That is the question, what next for the U23s? That really is the pertinent question. So,
yeah.
All right. So that's it for our U23 segment. It's not going to be the last one we do. I can see us doing another one in the next few weeks. May have another guest. Tease. We'll see what happens. But for now, this is our final video segment. So soak up the essence while it lasts. If you're wanting to switch on over to the podcast, there's a quiz between David and Max, cage match. Their brains is going to look like that. It's going to be great. So listen for that. Switch over to the pod, and if you don't, we'll miss you. You had me at hello tier. If you want more Dave, check his Twitter for when he chooses to publicize what he does.
Should have known, Gerry. Should have known. Walk straight into it.
But keep an eye out for that. I mean, really, what it is your friends on Twitter are going to share his stuff, and that's probably how you're going to see it. But keep an eye out for it. Also, keep an eye on Max's Twitter. He'll tell you when and where he's going to be. He's on the Toffee Blues website often. Webmaster John gave the website a nice fine-tune, facelift, tummy tuck. Looks nice, all right? So keep an eye out for that. He'll tell you when and where. And that's it. We're going to move to the podcast. If you know your history, let's hope these guys do. Let's move on. Thanks. Bye.